Well, in this series, we are talking about meaning in life, and we've been looking at how we can easily inject meaning into our lives. Already done 2 episodes in this, and we're going to go deeper into one more way. In fact, we're not going to add another. There are several other ways of injecting meaning in life, but what we started discussing yesterday, that's what I'm going to continue discussing today. Let me just do a small recap for you so that we can get on board. The first thing that you can do to inject meaning into your life is to go through a rebirth. If you want to know what that is, go back to episode number 1271. Yesterday we said that the other way you can be able to inject meaning into your life is to go through responsibility, or to inject responsibility into your life. And I want to go deeper into that in this episode today. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Life Signatures podcast with Lawrence Namale. Lawrence is a life coach, author, and keynote speaker who loves to tackle different topics on purpose, productivity, and resilience. His mission in life is to awaken all your boundless possibilities available in you. Life Signatures podcast is dedicated to bring to reality every single person who knows that deep down in their gut, there's got to be more to life than this. And now, here is your host, Lawrence Namale.
We already saw yesterday that the responsibility that is imputed on the human being is different from the responsibility that is on the bee or the silkworm or the ant, for the sole reason that the human being chooses. This responsibility that the ant has, he is wired inside of him. The bees have the responsibility inside of them. They don't even know that they are being responsible in whatever they're doing. It's a code. It's like an instinct. It's like an instruction that they're just following. But for the human, responsibility is not an instruction that you're following. For the human, responsibility is a choice. It's an intentionality. Whether you like it, whether you don't like it, it is a choice. It is an intentionality upon your life. And we are saying that if you lack meaning in your life, when you want to inject that self-same meaning into your life, what do? You become a person who has a responsibility. Now, I want to go deeper into that because what I explained yesterday is not necessarily enough. I want to take some episodes here and go deeper into this thing called responsibility. When bored, when we can go to the fridge and pick up a snack, when we can go to our phones and scroll through the reels and games and porn sometimes all day. When we take a journey in our vehicles to have an adventure. When we activate the spending mode and withdraw our monies and have a good time. There are very few human beings who wouldn't fancy some of these things. Very few. If anything, most of us human beings are looking for this kind of a lifestyle where you can be able to get food, pleasure, comfort, adventure, just like that. And there's nothing wrong, of course, about the porn. It's wrong, but there's nothing wrong with having comfort, nothing wrong with having adventure, nothing wrong with having certainty, nothing wrong with having bliss in life. The point, friends, that we need to understand about these things is they are temporary. It is only temporary what it does in dealing with a life that lacks meaning. When you open the fridge and you eat that favorite snack without necessarily having to work for it. It's a temporary reprieve. Food is basic, shelter is basic, clothing are basic. When I put on my Jordans It's nice. It's nice to appear in a meeting with a bespoke suit, well trimmed just for me. It's nice to have my teeth whitewashed so that when I smile, you just see the spark in there. It's nice. Nothing wrong with that. It's nice for me to drive home to the village and people wonder what kind of man I am, the way I smell, the way the car I drive, and the cute kids that I show off. It's nice. There's a problem though, friends. All those things are temporary. The meaning in those things are very temporary. Once the accolades have come, the achievement has come, it wears off. Once someone has had a rebirth, they have injected purpose into their existence. That alone is not enough. We talked about rebirth in the previous episodes. It's not alone. They will have to roll up their sleeves and guess what? Work. This work is akin to having responsibility. You have to be responsible. Responsibility means work. Now, when I talk about work, it populates these ideas of jobs and so on and so forth. I'm not necessarily talking about jobs. And I have gone deeper into this in the previous episodes, saying that a task that you finish doesn't necessarily mean you've been productive. A task that you finish that you don't feel it, you don't have meaning in it, you don't draw any inspiration out of it, you're just doing it for the sake of doing, doesn't have meaning for you. Even that is a temporary thing. But for us to inject life, meaning into our lives, we will need to work, we will need to show some kind of responsibility. Because responsibility immediately injects meaning into your life. Take responsibility from the angle of, I want to do something. I love to do this thing. I feel passion for it. I am equipped for it. And even if I am not equipped for it, I am going to get capacity and get equipped for it. And I am going to do it and finish it because it's going to transform. It's going to change. It's going to contribute. It's going to positively impact society or life in general. Now that is responsibility. You see, you can be depressed all you want. Just like I was, we always get depressed few weeks ago. Immediately I started working. Because for me, when I'm writing, I am working. When I am podcasting, I am working. When I'm reviewing things, when I'm thinking, I am working. Immediately I started working. Guess what? Forgot about the depression. I stopped feeling sorry about myself and started feeling purposeful. In short, activity that helps you to be authentic with your meaning in life is much more welcome than just any task. Just doing any task, I might not necessarily call it responsibility. I will equate it to the ant building a colony, or the bee also building a colony and making honey, or the silkworm making silk. But this kind of responsibility, where you are working on something that matters to you, it has meaning in it, it is an antidepressant, it is an antidote, it's an anti-aging. The only problem we have with taking action and being responsible is the need we have to live a transactional life. That is what I am up against. That I do something so that I can get something out of it. I mean, we can only be responsible to the degree that we shall be paid for. That responsibility at the end of the month is not what I am talking about as responsibility. I am talking about something that you wanna do. It's not transactional. It's not attached to let me say it this way, that the only reason you are doing what you're doing is because you are gaining something out of it. That is transactional responsibility. It's even lower than what the bee or the ant does. So we either do that, or at worst, people normally say, I am jobless. They do nothing. Mike Murdoch. Mike Murdoch says if he comes into your environment, he can easily find 27 things that need to be fixed. And each of those things, it means that you have a job. You have responsibility right there. Responsibility goes a deeper way. It goes not just in the things that you want to do. It goes into the things that you want to create, problems that you want to solve, pains that you want to alleviate. That is responsibility. So I'm going to start talking about this even in a deeper way in the episode tomorrow. And we're going to look at 6 or so ways in which we can be responsible. This is still on point number 2. If we wanted to inject meaning into our lives, what do? We become responsible. And for us to become responsible, there are several ways in which we can actually be responsible. I've alluded to some of those ways in this episode. But in the episode starting tomorrow, another mini-series within this major series, we're going to see the different ways we can have responsibility. And in each of those ways that we're going to have responsibility, it's going to help to inject meaning into our lives. For today, the only thing that I want you to go home with is this: every time there is no responsibility in your life, there is a lack of meaning thereof. And also realize this: you having tasks to do, just having activity to do, doesn't mean you are being responsible. The responsibility we are talking about here has to have something that matters, some meaning inside of it. You're passionate about it, you have initiative over it, you have oversight over it, it means something to you, you don't have to be followed up and so on. That's the responsibility that we are discussing in these episodes. Tomorrow we start going deeper into the same. Remember, there are other ways of injecting meaning into life. We've already talked about a rebirth. Now we're talking about responsibility. I'm going to take about 6 or so episodes just to talk about responsibility. And then thereafter, we're going to go to other ways we can inject purpose and meaning into our lives. For now, bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Life Signatures Radio. If you enjoyed today's show, subscribe to Life Signatures Radio on iTunes, Stitcher, or visit our website at lifesignatures.libsyn.com. Life Signatures Radio, fresh, clean, and inspiring.